RDR fam, how's everybody doing? As always, hope everybody had a great Thursday, and it's a great day overall. Hope your week is going well. We're gonna talk about some DR as we normally would. Uh, well, let's go ahead and get into it. Um, like I told you guys on the last session, I wasn't sure I was gonna trade today. I said if I see something, I'll go ahead and do it. And so I really only had like one trade today. Honestly, I took one 5 point trade, and I was like, "Yep, I'm good. Just keep the juices flowing, right?" So we'll talk about that. There were a couple other opportunities, but we'll talk about how that worked out. Okay, so let's get started and try to make this one fast tonight. So our setup for DR, right? Notice, oops, let me pull my right tool up. All right, so we had this kind of movement here. So my expectation was that we would basically, be confirming low. So probably a good call, right? Because we actually did confirm low. Okay, so um, now back up. I almost forgot. We got let's see, our range today was roughly around 27 points, I believe. So 42.73 up to about 29, 42.99. So yeah, about 27 points ish, I guess, something like that, close. All right, 27, 28, 26, one of those three numbers, you pick one. All right. So, pretty wide range today. And again, a lot of times we get a wide range. It's hard for a price to get out of that range. But in this case, for us today, like I said, we started with this movement, kind of this setup movement there. So I had a pretty good feeling we would actually, uh, go lower than that or confirm low, which we did very quickly after the market opened, about 10:35 ish. We confirmed low, and then we had this movement. Um, so again, what I'm doing at that point is I'm just setting my alerts, right? Um, and like I said, most of us that work 9 to 5, we are busy. It's coming to our fourth quarter. We are very, very busy. A lot of stuff going on, so I don't really look at the charts anymore. I feel bad because I'm in these groups and I don't really even comment much anymore because I'm just too busy to actually pay attention to it. So gotta do what you gotta do, right? So anyway, so once we confirm low, set alerts, right? And so where I set my alerts now, here's a couple things, right? Because people have been asking about this lately. So when market first forms DR, right? When this box forms, right? 10:30. Okay, I go in and I set two alerts initially. One here at the low, and one here at the high. Okay, those are my first two alerts. All right. Once it goes off, and one thing I think Jim, one of my subscribers, asked was about, once the alert goes off, what if it doesn't, confirm if it's just a wick, and the body doesn't confirm? Well, you can set the alerts to actually, kind of have multiple alerts, right? So let's, I mean, since we got time here today, because I didn't trade much, if you go and add an alert, let's add an alert here, okay? If I open that alert up, double click on it, right? I can come in here now and tell what I want that alert to do, right? So I want that alert to, when it's crossing, in this case, I want to say crossing down, okay? And every time it crosses down, I want to know about it, right? I can give it a name. I can tell what it wants, exactly. I can do all those kind of things, and I just save that. And now that alert is set. When price is crossing down, I will do the opposite on the high side, okay? So that's how I set that alert. All right, that's the first one I set. Now, once we confirm, okay, so once I'm confirmed, now what I'm looking for is I want an alert to tell me when price is going to go back above DR. And I also set one on IDR. I want to know both of those, right? So I'm looking at DR. When the DR one goes off, I look at it, and I'm trying to see if it's going to go up higher or if it's going to retrace, or if that's the full retrace, or if it's actually going to go higher into IDR, or even up here into zero point 0.5 fib or higher. All right, but these are the first two that let me know I need to start paying attention. Okay, so my first alert goes off here. Okay, goes off on the DR. All right, as price comes back up for the retrace. All right, it goes up to right above, right at about a tick above the IDR. So you guys know what that means. My order is placed on IDR, and then on this red candle, that's like 42.76, and it was just I literally was like 5 points on that red candle, right? So took that down, so got the 5 points off of that. Um, and like I said, for me, I was done, right? And I was like, well, let me go back to work. Let me go grab some food, and that was it. But let's talk about what else was there today. All right, so think about it. We had this one. Price went back up again. Okay, so you could have played around with this one, but if you notice this candle, this big red candle here, and one thing, and I said this before, like I like to put orders on when the candle's going in the direction I want, right? So it's sometimes it's hard to do because price may wick up and then come back down, like this wick candle here. It went up above the IDR, but it just wicked back down. But it was still a positive candle. Okay, now would I have taken that trade? Probably not, because what I'm looking at is this red candle. You see where price ended, right? Price closed right there on that red candle, and so that means that this candle, I would really want to see this candle come further down before I would take that, right? I want that candle to be red if it's all possible. Okay. Now, if I miss it, and because it went to IDR, right, I could have put an order on DR if I really wanted to, and said, okay, I'll let DR be the where I put my order, so I might miss out on 2 or 3 points on the IDR side, but I'm okay with that, right? So in this case, what you see is we have green candle, big wick, green candle, and then this red candle. So that gives me a chance to put price right there back on IDR again, same thing, 42.76, and now I can take that down to at least 5 points here, and I don't know where it ended. Looks like at about 42.67. So not quite, maybe like 9 points you could have if you got out on time. But again, the minimum you got is 5 on that play. All right, so it's just you kind of get used to how these candles move. Like I'll give you an example. Here's one of the things I always look at. Right, let's say I'm waiting for a candle to go up. Okay, so I'm waiting, or I'm in a position, and candle forms here. What I've noticed, and then again, maybe I'm just seeing this because I want to see it, is if that next candle starts to form and it initially starts lower, it'll actually turn around and go back up most of the time, a lot of the times, okay? Because it'll leave that wick at the bottom. All right. So if I see that candle come, and I'm looking, and I see that candle, start down, right? That next candle, I see it start like this. Then I'm like, okay, I got a little more patience. Okay. If I see it start up here, then it's a possibility it's going to actually start going down. If that makes sense, right? But it's just looking at the candles and seeing the price action on what's actually happening. And again, that may be me just making it up, but it tends to work out most of the time, to the point where I use that sometimes as my trigger of when I'm actually going to get out of a trade or not, right? So if I see price just really starting to, sets up in the wrong direction, then I'm like, okay, let me be a little more cautious and get out when I need to. All right. Hopefully that made sense at some point to somebody. Okay. Now, great move up. Not my play, right? Not my DR play. If I'm doing ICT, I got opportunities to take a trade. Okay. But if I'm not doing ICT, then there's nothing I can do about that one, right? But opportunities are there. Now, what happens, which is actually kind of cool, but it didn't really reject the way I thought it would. When I looked at it later on in the day, we came up here and we wicked all the way above the DR high, right? So now we're flirting with a false day. Okay, now, which is fine. How do you play that? How do I play that? If I see this movement happening, right? All right, remember, I'm confirmed low. I see this movement happening. I'm actually putting my order. Well, it depends on where it's at, either on IDR high or IDR high or DR high. I can put an order on either one of those, okay? Because my stop is right up here above, okay? So my loss is very limited in that case, because what I'm expecting is one or two things are going to happen, right? And remember, to get a retirement setup, right, or to get a false day means that price has closed above, the body of the candle has closed above the opposite side of the range. All right. So in this case, since I confirmed low, my body of my candle would have to close above the DR high. Okay. If that doesn't happen, like here we had a wick, that's great because it's letting me know that price, it's still a true day, and it's now a potential retirement setup. And a retirement setup is when price goes, close, usually either above IDR or above DR on the opposite side of the range, but doesn't close above and it starts to move back down, right? So it's only two things going to happen. Either it's going to close above and keep going, or it might turn around, but once it close above, that's it, right? We had that the other day. Or it's going to turn around and go back the other way. In this case, it did that. So there were some, let's say I got in on DR high, let's say about 4,300. You could have taken that down to, I forgot, to 90, so maybe a 10 point, but definitely 5 points you could have gotten off of that trade if you were taking that trade. Okay. And then if you're really being aggressive and it's now like around 530-ish, here's another opportunity. Price goes above IDR high, right? Still want price to come down this way. So I could have put order on IDR high and taken trade this way, right? So probably another 5 points in that one if you really want to be aggressive. Okay, so there were opportunities there, but again, like I said, after yesterday's bonanza, I wasn't really focused on trading, which was a good thing because I really had a busy day. So there's only so much I could do today anyway. But anyway, so that's it. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, just follow your plan. Look at your risk tolerance. Like for me, I'm okay risking 5 points to make 5 points. All right, but that's just me because I've done it in the other way where I've made much more than 5 points, right? If that makes sense, right? My risk is very minimal compared to what my rewards have been. So if I'm risking, five, and normally I do that when I'm doing my set and forget trade. So I'm like, okay, I'm following the rules, set the trade, and kind of just walk away, let it play itself out because I don't have time to watch it. So, but that's just me, right? You may have a different risk tolerance, and that's okay. You work on your risk tolerance, or you might be trading MES because the pricing is. It took me a long time to get familiar and comfortable trading the ES, the minis, right? I was trading the micros for a long time. Then I would trade one micro. Then I would say, okay, well, okay, I got that, right? $1.25 for a tick, $5 a point. Okay, I can live with that. All right, let me try two micros. Okay, so now I'm at $10 a point. All right, nice. Okay, about three, right? So I worked my way up, not just because I didn't know how to trade, right? But just because, mentally, when you have a stop loss of 5 points on a mini, that's $250 that you're at risk if you let it play all the way out. Okay. Now, if people have huge accounts, that's a big deal. That's not a big deal. But if you're just starting and trying to learn and you're trying to follow a strategy, that may be too much, for you to swallow right on one trade. So, that's why I say, what's your risk tolerance? What's your plan? And stick with that and work your way up to where you want to get to. Right. So, right now I'll trade two minis very, very comfortably. Right. And I know what that is, right? I know that's going to be, $100 a point on either direction. So, and I'm okay with that. All right. So now I'm risking, 500 to gain 500. Is that okay? Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Like I said, I've built up enough cushion where I don't worry about that too much. All right. Especially on just one trade. But you have to get there on your time and on your schedule. All right. Don't rush it. Don't try to, the worst thing to do is try to sit here and trade minis. And then, you get to the point where you're like, oh, I'm losing way too much. And then, you get that analysis paralysis. And you don't want to make the move, right? Trade the micros, trade multiple micros, get yourself, where you feel a little comfortable, then try a mini, right? So just try it that way. Okay. I mean, the numbers are all the same, right? It's just a tenth of a mini is a micro. So, and the numbers on the chart are the same, right? You're still trading the ES. You're just trading in a different monetary amount. So, that's my soapbox. I got to give you one at least once a week. Hopefully hopefully that helps somebody. That I say this about DR all the time. I trust it, and sometimes it works. It's supposed to work 70-80% of the time, right? Has it done that for me? Absolutely. Okay, so if I lose two in a row, I'm like, okay, today's just not the day for it to work. All right, tomorrow's another day. Okay, so last week was, we were scrambling trying to, make it work out. This week was I call easy peasy lemon squeezy yesterday. That's what it was easy. Today it was relatively easy. Again, I just didn't trade because I didn't want to and didn't have time. But it was relatively painless if you would have followed the rules. So it happens. So anyway, that's it. Definitely off my soapbox now. You guys have a great night. You know the rules. Love on your loved ones. You never know, you won't be able to do it again. So take advantage of those opportunities. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I need to actually look and see what if we have anything happening tomorrow from a market news standpoint. That's how busy I've been this week. I really even had time to look and pay attention to it. So, all right, you guys have a great night. Appreciate you all, and we'll do it again. All right, later.